Fortcast bus is gone.
About school again?
You got me there.
So thank you for coming on. Davena.
Yes.
Hey,
Hey.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and talking. So last night we're in small group together,
Yes.
and we've been in small group together for almost 2 months now, right?
Yes.
About 2 months. So is that right about the time you started coming to church? Or a little
Yeah,
before that?
definitely. I came that Sunday, and that following Wednesday was
Okay.
the first time I started coming to the church.
That's why I was trying to get a sense of how long we've known each other. I knew it hadn't been too long, and so, but you shared a lot of stuff, really great things in small group about what God's doing in your life. And I was just having the thought last night as we were leaving. I was thinking, well, I want to know some more of her story, kind of connect some of these pieces, get a little bit here, a little bit here, and I started thinking about, well, gosh, maybe I can find some time with maybe a Sunday after church. She can go with Christy and I to lunch or something like that, and we can find out some more. And I thought, I'll just do it on video. So, and you agreed because anyway. Well, I appreciate you agreeing to do it. So, I thought what we'll do is we'll just kind of get to know each other on
Okay.
video. It'll be a little awkward with the lights and all.
It's okay.
But, So if you were going to be introducing yourself to me kind of more than what we know already, and we'll probably do some of the stuff I may know already, but just start, maybe tell me some of your story, You grew up here in Columbus, or?
Yes, I did grow up in Columbus. To tell you my story, there's a lot, so it's kind of, I don't know where to begin, and there's probably a lot that I'll leave out because we definitely don't have time for all of it.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Columbus. I was raised by my mom and dad who were, they struggled in life, in different areas. But I always will believe in my heart that they did the best they could. And
What
I
part
have
of town? What part of town?
over off of 2nd Avenue and
Okay.
River Road.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think they grew up together in high school in the same neighborhood. As they grew up, they had kids, of course, and had a toxic relationship. So we kind of went through a lot as kids as far as stability and just a healthy home period,
Yeah.
So
brothers and sisters?
yes, I have a sister, Tiffany, who is 2 years older than me, and I have a brother who we call Little Johnny, who is 2 years younger than me. So there was 3 of us that grew up in the household.
How old is your
together.
brother? See how I did that?
He's 2 years younger than me.
All right. Okay. All right. That's all right.
Sneaky. I have to watch you.
So you talk about, and I know you want to be very gracious. I always do this too. I want to be very gracious to my mom, and when I'm talking about things that I grew up, and there were some things that were just tough with her being a single mom, and having to figure some things out. And so, whenever, especially when she's in church, and I'm kind of sharing about things from childhood, I try and be real careful about it. But when and you can continue to be very gracious. But when you talk about how'd you say it? Unstable. Is that the word
Yes,
you used?
the lack of stability.
Right. Yeah. So kind of without throwing your parents under the bus, but I mean, what does that look like in your world? Because I think it means different things to different people.
Okay. This is a little hard, so bear with me.
And you don't have to share anything you're not comfortable with.
Right.
So,
Definitely. But I do want to share and just, put out there the image so that we can get the full effect of the change that God has done in my
Right.
life. And I think that that's just going to be part of the story, So my parents they struggled with addiction, and their relationship was toxic, as I was saying. So there was a lot of fights. I don't know that they ever really kept a consistent job, so we struggled sometimes. We didn't have Christmases or, Easters, birthday, and I knew this was going to be hard. but ultimately, you know, of course, I know that they did the best they knew how. They just emotionally were unstable, physically unstable, and in their struggle, you know, they never had like that I could see a solid, intimate relationship with God. Yeah. And so I think that's where a lot of their struggles come from, because as I grew up and I started struggling in life, it was the lack of Christ, yeah. you know, that caused that struggle. It's a different struggle. You still have struggles in life, but you just handle them different and you face them different when you have God, you know? So, we grew up in and out of foster home a few times, okay. Just watching them fight, mm-hmm. and just, you know, times that we didn't have anything to eat, or, you know, it's just the lack of the physical needs that you need in life, yeah. even the emotional needs, you know, like, we got hugs. My mom loved on us, and my dad, you know, he showed love to the best of his ability as he was in and out. They were separated and back together, and separated and back together. So it was really toxic. Like, we never lived like in one home. Like, it was constantly moving, or, you know, just struggling. And then I think when I was 12. My mom had a diving accident at this swimming hole, and she broke her neck. Mm. And she was paralyzed. She never walked again. So through that, you know, I learned a lot about taking care of her at a young age. Maybe I was 10. I suck at the chronological things. Right. So a lot of it I try to block out, so it's definitely not things that I have visited, you know. But
so where did you go to several different schools coming up?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Moving around?
Yeah, I even remember Mom packing us up one time and driving us to South Dakota. And like,
South Dakota?
Yeah, like her parents are from South Dakota. They're Indian, so from like Lake Andes, Salt Lake City, and stuff like that. So I remember even us driving up there, and I remember us living up there for a while. I don't know how long, but just like faint memories of, you know, small things. We've probably lived in every other house in North Holland, right. You know, seriously. Yeah. So, yeah, we went to different schools, and yeah.
I think were you going somewhere with after your mom's accident with, you know, how that impacted your life, taking care of her? Where I may have cut you off on a thought there.
No, I think you did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really want to get deep into
that's
that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And we can save that for another time.
That's all right. And so, where did you end up in high school? Where'd you go to school? Different schools, or?
Yeah, different schools.
All right.
Yeah. I went to different schools. I went to Russell County some, and I went to Jordan some. I even went to Smith Station for a little bit, and that was all in the 9th grade.
Okay. All right. So you said that you started with your own struggles, and so come from what you were talking about with your parents, that there's involved drugs. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did that start for you?
Wow. So the very first time I ever done drugs, I was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And I continued on throughout my whole, you know, teenage years, off and on, mostly on and off, you know. I got pregnant and had my first child when I was 17. And so I obviously quit, you know, while I was pregnant. So that was like, it's about as far as it. No, that's my 21-year-old Cassie.
Okay. What's
Cassie.
Cassie. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So yeah, my struggle with drugs have been like constant.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So give me an idea, because I know some some of your past just through small group and kind of where you've been in recent years. But let's connect the dots for everybody else as much as you're comfortable with between being a teenage girl using drugs to, how did your life, what was the trajectory of your life going from there? Having Cassie's girl.
Yes.
Yeah, having a daughter at a young age. So what happens from there? Where does your life go from there?
That was it's been a long journey from that point to here. And like I said, there's a lot, so I kind of just want to fast forward to some of the main points.
Yeah, sure.
Because I can jump around everywhere. Yeah. So in and out of addiction, in and out of jail, in and out of prison. I just recently was released December the 7th of this past year. And
how long were you in? 3
years and 4 months.
Okay. So all drug related stuff?
Yes, all drug related.
Okay. You shared, you keep going on.
No, go ahead.
Well,
I'm cool with whatever I shared. Like, you can bring it up.
Well, no, I'm one of the great things about our small group each week is kind of getting reports on everybody's life, and you've been sharing about how good your job is going, and one of the things you said several times is that this is the first job you've ever had.
Yeah.
Except
legally, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked my butt off, illegally, but now I'm working my butt off in a legal job. Yeah, and I like it. For me, it's just been, honestly, it's just been about, like, surrendering everything to God. And when I do that, I have to completely let go of the excuses, let go of the past. Like, I get emotional talking about it, so obviously there's still some healing to be done there, but I've moved on from it to a point that I no longer let it be the reason I'm doing this, that, or the third. Right. I let it be what it is. It's my past, it's in the past, and I don't let it use it as an excuse to do the things that I was doing anymore. Yeah,
and my point in these things is never to celebrate the bad stuff in the past, and not to try and create a gruesome, interesting story for people to go, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think that for me, the part that I'm going with, when you toss out things like, well, I've never had a job except for dealing drugs, but then I see who's sitting before me, and I hear you talk about what God's doing in your life and the influence of God's word in your life, and so that that's really struck my curiosity. Is like, well, now where's that coming from? Like, what was that journey? Like, when in this path, like, did you encounter the Lord somewhere early on and there was a battle, or is this in recent years in your last time, serving, prison time, or, where's your testimony of, surrendering to the Lord come in? Right.
So, it's actually a beautiful story. I have had many of struggles and back and forth of giving my life to God and taking it back and giving it again. And this last time, I just really feel like it's been just the final, this new road that I'm on. Like, I just don't think there's any turning back this time, and where it started was actually not even completely my story. My daughter, in 2018, she got in a car wreck, and her car hydroplaned and wrapped around a tree. And, of course, I was up at the hospital. She was in a coma, and it was so crazy because, like, I've had faith in my life, and I've trusted and believed at different points in my life, because definitely I wouldn't have made it this far, or even that far at that point, going back to 2018, if there wasn't a God, that I could trust in. So, but when Cassie was in a coma. You know, they were saying she may not wake up, but if she does wake up, she may not be herself. She may not remember y'all. And it was so crazy. I almost felt like, what kind of mother are you? Because I was sitting there thinking, like, she's coming back just the way this is God's story, you know, like this is a testimony for her. Like, there's no way that God is going to leave her. Like, she's coming back and she's going to wake up and she's going to be that same child again, or that same girl. And of course, you know, she had to learn how to walk and talk and those, you know, natural things again. But so many lives were changed, including mine. When I was I got locked up while she was in a coma, and maybe it was 2 days after she got in a coma, and I remember somebody saying that they were, to let me know they were praying for me, and I was thinking, that's probably why I'm in here, you know, because y'all are praying for me. And I knew it was going to save my life. I was just not in a good place at all. The things that I was doing, you know, in the streets and the life I was living, I was drowning, and my heart was so sad and so heavy from the sin in my life, you know. So when I called home, Cassie, when she woke up, she had asked for her Bible. So her dad went and got her Bible, and they opened it up to read it and found a letter that she had in that Bible, and they read it to me. And it was 2 days before she got in a wreck. She wrote God a letter, and she said, I surrender my life to you for my mother's salvation. And I'm like, you know, here I am, like, not even caring about my own life. And this child who I'm supposed to be nurturing, who I'm supposed to be the one to, like, be willing to give my life up for her, she's willing to give her life up for me. She's willing to give her life to God, you know, take me and save my mom, you know. And like, that was just really powerful. And I just was like, how can I go back, you know, like. And I think it was that, with other things too, like the fact that my faith in that moment, the faith in, like, knowing, God, I know who you are and I know what you can do. I know you're going to wake her up. I know that you're going to heal her completely. I think that it just did something inside of me. It did something to my spirit, and it just transformed me. And so I was in the county jail, and like, I got moved. Mr. Neil Richardson got me moved down to the faith and character dorm. Yeah. And I'm down there praying, and it was just so crazy. Like, I'm literally putting my hands on people and praying so hard and powerful and having Bible study. I had no idea how to have a Bible study, but I'm like, come on, let's just read the Bible together. This is our Bible study, you know? And so every night, like, so many different people were coming, to the point that there was even no more room in this little cell, you know? And one night I got freaked out. I went back to my cell and I was like, God, like, this cannot be, like, I cannot be the one praying for these people like this. Like, they're coming to me and I'm praying so heavy and hard. Like, I knew it wasn't me controlling my own tongue, because it was powerful. Yeah. And I'm nobody and nothing. I felt like David, like, you know, I'm just a little shepherd boy. What's going on, you know? So anyway, throughout that whole journey, that whole sentence, that whole 3 years and 4 months, I just got serious about my life. Yeah. You know, I started making changes, and I started making every moment count. I made a decision in my life to move with a purpose, and not just let things happen in my life, but take control over my life. Physically and spiritually give myself to God, yeah, you know, constantly. And it's been amazing, you know. I just can't even, every day I wake up and I'm getting ready for work, I'm still like, wow, I'm still doing this, you know, like, yeah. And it feels so natural and it's so crazy. And I just know, like, this is what surrendering your life to God feels like. Yeah. It feels like you can be normal, you can be accepted. You know, I go around other people who have never done drugs, who have never lived the kind of life I lived, you know, and I'm like, I feel comfortable around them. Yeah. I don't feel like I have to hide myself or feel like I can't be a part of whatever it is they're doing because I have all this sin in my life, like yeah. I feel like I can be open and honest with my thoughts, with my feelings, and I'm not perfect. Like our thoughts can even be sin sometimes. So of course I still have sin in my life, but it's just different. It's different when you can put it out there and expose it and, just be yourself. Definitely. Like I just can't believe what God has done in my life inside of me more than anything, yeah. The outside is just a byproduct. It's just that's like, right. But what he's done inside of me is so grand. Like I can't even explain it. I wish I had better words to tell, yeah. But it's just amazing.
Well, I mean, it comes through as joy,
yes.
And what the thing I appreciate in our time as a small group is what appears to be, just a real maturity about where you are and taking the things that God gives you in life and celebrating them, and then definitely. The difficult things, taking them in stride. And,
yes.
And while remaining joyful. So you definitely carry yourself with a lot of joy. And I appreciate that. I like folks who act like they're enjoying their Christian life.
Yes,
a lot
absolutely.
Of folks, it's how you doing? I'm here.
Right? Yeah, it's the best kind of life. Seriously, like I don't know any. If for me, let me just say for me, like I know if that's how I know I truly have God in my heart, and I know that He lives in all of our hearts, but that I've accepted that He's there and yeah. I've embraced it because that it's just a joy that you can't explain. And it's funny that you brought the word maturity because that was part of the transition and the change in my life too. Is just I think becoming mature, mm-hmm. That's not something that we just, we grow up, like we change our age every year and get older, but our maturity level don't necessarily come with us or it doesn't develop over those years.
And it's not a guarantee that you're going to have maturity with age. And that's what I was curious about. I was wondering how long you'd been investing in your spiritual life and what, because what you gave me as a timeline is what I thought there was. I thought when you got here was about the time you got out, which is about right. But I was thinking, boy, she must have been investing, and God was really doing a work in her during that time.
Yes.
And so it sounds like you had several years of really focusing on the Word and communing with the Lord, and He definitely was faithful in growing you during that time. So
definitely,
it's really cool. It's awesome. I'm thankful. I'm thankful you're here, and the input you give to our group is really good. I think it's a real encouragement to
thank you
to a lot of folks. I know it is to me. So right now, you got a job that you're enjoying, you're excelling at, which is awesome. Tell me about your kids.
My kids, oh my gosh, they're awesome. That's probably been one of the greatest blessings, kids are so resilient, and my kids particularly, they don't hold any kind of resentment or grudges. They're just so, every time that I've left and came back, they're just so happy to have me. Like, I feel like the prodigal son with them, like, like they're celebrating that I'm here. They don't even care that I was gone, and I know that there's pain there. There's things that they have to heal from that, but ultimately, like, they're great. Cassie, she's my oldest. She's 21, and she is a believer. She's a powerhouse. She has the best personality, and she's always bubbly. I love her personality. She's just, there's not a dull moment when she's around. And she is an encourager to me. Like, she inspires me. There's so much of her that I'm like, dang, I can take a piece of that and put it into my life and be like that and be great, because I feel like we kind of take things from people as they inspire us. Yeah. So she's definitely been that for me. And Jaden, I think is probably the strongest kid I have.
Yeah.
Yes, like he is amazing. It's funny because I'm actually trying to talk to someone. We're going to have a meeting this weekend for him to do a podcast because I just feel like his voice is powerful, and he's not ashamed of God. He's not ashamed to talk about, the things that he struggled through in life and where he's at now. So I just feel like he would be very influential to the youth, and the kids coming up now. And Cash, he's just a ball of energy. He's 5, and I'm literally
5, okay.
He's 5. He's a ball of energy, and he's just fun to be around. It's like I get another chance to do it all over again with him, where I missed out with the other ones. I get to do it all over again with him, so it's exciting. And he's actually learning about God. We read some of this children's Bible last night, and he was asking me questions. So that's always fun, whenever they are inquiring about things that you just hope that they hold on to for the rest of their lives, know.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you plant them seeds now, and just water them, they're kids, they're going to grow through things, and you have to let them do that. But ultimately, that it's always going to be there.
Yeah, they absorb so much, they're learning so much, and if we truly believe that there's power in the Word of God, why wouldn't we just pour it into them?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, they're at a point where they can memorize those stories and those verses a whole lot better than we can at our age. And whenever a parent tells me, well, I'm not trying to force anything on my kids, I'm like, that's your job. Like, that's what you're there for. That's why God gave them parents.
Right.
So take advantage of it. And a kids' Bible is a great way to
Definitely.
do it. So.
I was thinking about it would be cool if we had Awanas at our church here.
Yeah, Awana's a great way to memorize scripture. I think really encourage parents to, as much as you can, just pour the Word of God in your kids' lives. So I know you're expressing, and everything you do, you're expressing a lot of contentment and gratitude for where God's got you right now, which is awesome. I think that's right where we should be as a Christian. But is God putting any dreams and hopes into your heart and mind now? And I don't want to push you into anything, but I mean, what are you hoping for in the future? Just more of the same, or
So. That's a good question, and I wish that I had more of a solid answer at this point in my life. But right now, I'm just trying to feel my way through, and I know that there is something, I feel it deep inside of me. I feel like the excitement and the anticipation of something. I just don't know what it is yet, and Go ahead.
No, I mean, what I would encourage you with is what you need to do every once in a while, and I think you do this, but I mean, just continue to just stop and recognize how incredible what is happening right now is. Like how far this is from where you were, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So, and I think, and I asked that question just because I was curious if you had anything on your mind, not to say that what's going on in your life right now is not absolutely amazing.
Right.
You just got, I mean, I still would consider you very much in transition time.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't always feel like it right now. Sometimes, when we just bring up how it's only been 2 months, I mean, let's see. Yeah, February 7th, was the 2-month mark. March 7th will be the 3 months. And it's like, wow, it's only been that long, Like, I can't even imagine what 6 months or a year is going to look like,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to share, go back a little bit in reverse or rewind and share about Jaden really quick. This is something that jumped out on my heart. And I don't want to give the details of it because it's part of his story, and I definitely want to give him the opportunity to share that, on his own and have his own voice with that. But just for mothers out there, like I remember, because Jaden's 16 and we all know teenagers can go through things and they can, get exposed and get involved in things that, we just wish that they wouldn't. But, for Jaden, I think as a parent, for me as a mother, like the best thing that could have happened to me, and this might sound crazy, but it's just the truth. It's my truth. Is when I was away, I would hear things that Jaden was doing, that he was involved in and that he was doing. And, like for half a second, it would just be so heavy on me. Yeah. And then I would remember, like, just like that, like, hey, I got to put this at the cross. This is exactly what the foot of the cross is all about. Like, let me grab this, let me take it to God. And I would pray about it, and I would write in my journal prayers over Jaden. And I would hear something else, and I'm like, I would try to worry just briefly, momentarily, and literally be like, no, I've already given that to you, God. Like, you've got this, And what I want to say is, if I was at home, I would try to control them situations. I would literally, and I think that's just part of being a parent. Like, we want to control a situation for our kids and like make them do better, or try to control who they're around or what they're doing. And that's part of parenting. So, of course, but for me, I was not physically there, so I could not take control of that situation. I had to, the only thing that I had was to give it to God, which was the best thing, honestly, that I could ever do, is just give it to God and trust. So every time I got news about Jaden, I would say, no, you know what, God, I trust you. Even if it doesn't look like it, even if I can't see, the result of my prayer, you answering these prayers, I know who you are and I know what you can do. Yeah. And I know that, this is a mother praying for her child. So I know even if it looks bad, God, you got this, and it probably was a year and a half of praying and turning it over and trusting. Sometimes I would have to do that 100 times a day. Yeah. I literally, every time that thought came up, I'd have to turn it over. But as I went on, the amount of times that I had to do it became less and less, So, and then finally, all them prayers started paying off, and Jaden gave his life to God. He turned it around. And like I said, it's a lot that he did. That's just mind blowing, for a teenage boy with really not much guidance. Like his only guidance was me and his father, who were in and out of jail and prison and drugs, So, that's a powerful story that he'll have to tell, definitely. But
he seems to have a really strong. He seems to be very serious about his faith.
He is serious,
and which is really great to see in a 16-year-old.
Yeah, so, definitely.
And so that's the fruit of those prayers,
right? And so that's what I just want to say about this. About that story is for mothers, for fathers out there. Like, never give up and never doubt your prayers, and I think that faith and that trust, just, it moves mountains, definitely. And it definitely did for Jaden. Yeah.
God definitely uses the prayers of his people.
Absolutely.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I am thankful that you sat down and talked a little bit, and I hope we get a lot more time to get to know one another and the kids. And I'm thankful that you're in our small group. I really enjoyed the time, and even though I know I'm not your favorite pastor, it's
you are
Stephen Furtick, she said, for sure. So, but no, it's I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I appreciate you having me. This is not an easy thing to do, but I know sometimes we got to step out of what's easy, and that's what this whole thing has been. This journey has been for me. Like, if it's easy, I probably don't need to do it. You know what I mean? So I always try to welcome new challenges and doing things that may reach out and help. So,
well, God's definitely using you. I see it week by week in our small group, what you're able to share and communicate and testify to, and most of it is, hopefully this is encouragement. Because what I kept seeing is like, where's this girl picked up this maturity? I'm sorry, girl. That was sorry.
That's a compliment at my age. Like, seriously.
But where because I'm hearing some of your story, but boy, that's a very mature. It's a very spiritually mature and deep thing, and the Word was in there, and so I'm very thankful for all that. And so, just encourage you that that those things have been encouraging to me, but I know they've ministered to people in our group, and so God's using you, I'm sure, in all parts of your life that way. Right. And so, just continue to pray and to be in the Word, and so I'm thankful for where you are now, and look forward to seeing what all God does in the future.
Yes, absolutely. And I love being in that small group. I love the relationship that I have with y'all created. And I want to tell you that I'm so grateful for you. I realized last night when I was at home, I was like, this is the first church that I've ever been to that the pastor has reached out and said, like, I want to get to know you. I want to know more about you, So, and it means something. It's like you feel a part. I feel a part of this family here, this church family, and so thank you for that. It means a lot.
Well, that's what we want it to be. We really do want it to be family, and for me it is. I mean, this is our family, and so I'm glad you're here and a part of it.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Thanks for doing this.
Yes,
right.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.